I'm so tired of people saying that it's just a movie, it's just a comic book, it's just a TV show. Whatever. No, it's not. Stories are the building blocks of our culture, of ourselves, even of our own psychology. We are a product of the stories we tell ourselves about our own past and the experiences on a daily basis, but also the stories that we choose to spend time with. What types of values, our feelings, or whatever are they promoting? What types that we like to spend our time around? They're going to shape us. They're going to shape our personality and character, and they're going to shape our perception of the world and the acts and behaviors that we put out into the world. And people don't understand that. They go, it's just a movie. It's just this. I can like and promote whatever I want. Well, of course you can, but you should pay attention to the responsibility that you have.
Consume stories responsibly.
As a member of society, as a human being, responsibility to yourself.
Consider the consequences.
You need some balance. You need some certain criteria that is going to make sure you're promoting the right kind of works, or at least have thought through the type of work that this or that story is going to do in our culture, and then make your own decision whether or not that's something you want to support.
Consume stories responsibly. Consider the consequences. Consume stories responsibly.
Hello everyone, I'm Professor Geek. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another Friday night stream. A little late tonight. My daughter was fighting sleep tonight big time, and oh man, I was wiped too. Usually I get a power nap. She'll let me she'll go to sleep and let me get a little power nap before I come on and do these streams, and she was determined that I was not going to rest. Every 5 minutes it was, Daddy, blah blah blah, whatever. So it was touch and go whether I was even going to do a stream tonight, but Sound Engraver prevailed upon me to do one. she can't deny her this handsome face, right? No, I really appreciate the encouragement, because I do need to keep these consistent, especially to keep the channel consistent, and the growth that I've been seeing lately, is great. I do like growth. I'm not going to do anything that's insincere or isn't authentically me, in my opinions. I'm not going to just start doing stories about anything that's popular or whatever. But when there are things going on that I do have something to say about, I need to be consistent and do that. So here I am, a little late, but here I am nonetheless. Don't know how long we'll go, but I do have something specific to say about the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer and the reactions that it's receiving. And some of it's going to be some of the things I've been saying about other franchises, but tonight I want to go a little bit more specific, and I want to really try to explain some things that some people just can't quite understand. Some people it's not coming across. So I want to try to go into some more specifics and maybe explain why to some people, this and that, but we'll get to that in a second. Let me go ahead and welcome the chat. I see my first chat here is the Sentinel. Yeah, the Sentinel. Welcome, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I like that thumbnail. That was quick. That was just a few minutes ago. Scott Pickering. Hello, Parker. Jose Lopez. Welcome. Nathaniel's a Lowsball. Nathaniel says, I know it's important to talk about this and why it isn't worth supporting, but part of me wishes we could review some good stuff every now and then. Here's the thing, and this isn't anything towards you, because I think the algorithm, I think you probably just don't know about this. A number of people do tell me that sometimes Friday nights, because Friday night tends to be let's point out what's going on here. Let's point out what's going bad in the media. And a number of people, anytime they hear somebody being critical, exercising critical thinking, was like, can't we just, can we encourage the positive too, and some people, I'm not saying you're doing this, Nathaniel, but some people really take it to they use that sort of sentiment as a weapon to shut down anybody's critical thinking. I can't stand that on social media. Guys, instead of cursing the darkness, why not just shed the light? That is the stupidest thing anybody can ever say. It diminishes and reduces anybody's legitimate critical analytical thinking skills about certain things to just, that's just being negative. No. Thing is, on my channel, every single, and you might not know this, I think a lot of people don't know this, every single Thursday, for the most part, occasionally I have to miss here and there, we do book studies on my channel. And the book studies are all about celebrating really amazing stories that were told. Right now, we're doing predominantly EU stuff because I'm really trying to raise awareness and keep the Star Wars EU in the forefront. And we're going to take a little break and do some Ray Bradbury stuff in October. But just last night we were just geeking out about what Drew Karpyshyn is able to achieve and the way he structured, the Darth Bane trilogy. And Big Al and I are really just going into it deeply and talking about how cool this is and stuff. But here's the thing: those book studies, I get maybe 20 people watching. These streams, when I'm being critical and talking about the problems and things, easily 100 at times. So one thing is that people, however handful of people say, can't we just support some good stuff? That's not the majority. Majority of people want to hear you lash into things. The other part, though, is the algorithm. So, like, you might not even know about the Thursday night study. Well, no, you've been to the Thursday night studies. Yeah, you've been to the Thursday night studies. I'm sorry. Sorry, it's been a long day. But a lot of people who say that probably don't even know about the Thursday night studies because the algorithm doesn't privilege it, right? If you're lashing into something, that's where the algorithm's gonna bump you up. But welcome to Netters Network. Pop, I don't know if you're still here. You said you're just popping in to say hello, but welcome to you. Actually, I need to find out. I'll find out from Al if you're not here. When your movie rewatch is next Saturday, because next Saturday is my birthday, and I am going to do a birthday stream that evening at some point. But I'll try and do it earlier than the rewatch. I think that night's yours. I think Al's tomorrow or something. I don't know. But anyway, welcome to you as well. And let's see who else we have here. AL, welcome AL. Clint Waltman. There's my dear sound engraver. Good to see you there. Melissa Harris and Jake, aka Melissa Harris and Sons 3.0. Welcome to you. Comic Skater, haven't seen you around in a bit. Welcome to you. And many, many more have piled in since I started welcoming folks. Leia Plus Size, Fabio, welcome everyone. So, to start tonight, I had a clip of my live stream last week that I was going to cut out and make its own video too, in which I was talking about how Disney played fans with the whole Gina Carano thing. And I said some great things in that, and I thought that's good. I want to get that out there, and make that be its own video. But in rewatching it again and editing it together, I'm thinking, people who get it will get it. But there's some people out there that just still don't quite understand it. So I want to try to explain it at a deeper level, like I said. So let me go at it this way. I've said a number of times on my channel, and this is going to end up getting to Spider-Man, so just bear with me because I got to lay some groundwork. But I've said a number of times on my channel that Hollywood doesn't care about making money. They care about preaching an agenda. Now, that's hard for a lot of people to understand, and it's a very general statement, so I need to be more specific about it. But it's hard for people to understand because it's not logical, right? I mean, I'll be the first to admit it's not logical. If they're a business to make money, then they should make money. And if their product isn't selling or isn't, getting them the kind of results they want, then it's only logical that they would change their product. And you would think that the lack of funds coming in would necessitate them to do it, no matter how much they didn't like it at some point, right? I get that, but that's just not how Hollywood works. To be more specific, though, I'm going to differentiate between the different factions. So, we'll look at Disney here. When you talk about Disney, you've got the actual people in charge of creating the stories, of writing the stories, producing the stories, publishing or publicizing the stories, pushing them out there. And then you've got the shareholders, the people who the creatives at Disney, executive producers on down, are responsible to money-wise, business-wise. And they are responsible to that. And the shareholders will, every year, or so hold their feet to the fire if they're not, if the numbers weren't good or whatever. But the shareholders are so far removed from anything that's actually going on in the company in terms of creative processes, direction of the company. They're not following, the shareholders have no clue. The Mandalorian's getting a lot of press, but this other, still Disney continuity stuff isn't. So, the shareholders aren't going to come in and say, we want you to kill the High Republic and really, beef up the Mandalorian take. That's what we want to do. No, they're not that involved. They don't even care that much. They just want that bottom line. So the creative types in these companies, Disney, for example, in this in this scenario here, they know that they have to make at least a certain amount to keep the shareholders off their back. But what they really want to do, no matter what, is continue preaching their agenda. So this is where it's completely illogical, but this is just how when people become ideologues, when an ideology takes over their brain, it's a cult-like behavior. They don't think logically. This is why, as I said before, so many great directors, writers, storytellers who've given us so many amazing stories in the past are suddenly just turning out this dribble that's the social agenda, nonsense, the ideologue nonsense, trying to program, social value, their chosen social values of their ideology into the culture because the ideology's taken over their minds and their identities, and they think that's infinitely more important than telling a good story as they did before. So that's why the creative types here at Disney are far more concerned with pushing an agenda than they are telling good story, but they also are more concerned with pushing an agenda than they are making money, to the extent that they could make money, right? I mean, they're not complete and total idiots. Being an ideologue doesn't take away knowledge that so they know, hey, Mandalorian was really popular. They could really, if they really wanted to capitalize on that, Disney could really put all their chips in with that and really, but they didn't. In fact, what's the first thing they did after The Mandalorian was so popular was announce all these other Disney Plus shows, including like the all female led one, and then the this other TIE fighter one or something, I think, that takes place right after Rise of Skywalker and everything. And you've got Favreau himself, as I've said many times, affirming that, yes, The Mandalorian leads right into the New Order and the Disney continuity of the Disney sequel trilogy. So it's they know what they could do, but they won't, because preaching that agenda is more important to them. Okay, but they do have to make a certain amount of showing for the stockholders to keep them off their back. So here's where it gets interesting. Disney knows exactly what they're doing, and they've done this a number of times already, and it's worked. It's worked, and I'll go over some of their tactics, and I'll ultimately end on the Spider-Verse because that's the most latest. That's the latest tactic that they're doing right now, and I'll look at that a little bit. Terminator Joe for $5. Thank you so much for the super chat. Very much appreciate that. Says it's true. They're all about the agenda and propaganda. They lose money, then get bailed out by the government with taxpayer money, social engineering. Yeah. Sound Engraver many times has postulated, she's like, if Disney ever really was on the ropes, I could see the government turning them into the next PBS. I was like, that's not that outlandish. It really isn't. Especially with the way the government's going and whatnot. Definitely, hey, give us a mouthpiece like Disney. Let's trade in PBS for Disney to push our agendas and everything. They do that in a heartbeat, But all right, so I appreciate the super chat there. Let's go to the tactics they use. One of the tactics that I started to or did explain some in last week's stream, and I'll talk about it now in context of the specificity that I'm using here, is let's talk about The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian, as I've maintained from the very start, is nothing more than a tasty bone that Disney has thrown the fans who are angry about the sequel trilogy. That's all it is. That's all. And anybody, I think even people who are so mad at me for criticizing The Mandalorian or saying people shouldn't watch it would still at least agree to that, right? And I think it's even on a matter of record, Favreau going to them saying, I think I can get fans back for you. Let me do this series or whatever. Because Favreau's a great storyteller. And I don't necessarily know that he's an ideologue or not. I'm not familiar with the in total body of his work, but as far as I know, no, he's quite a great storyteller. So it's calculated. This was a calculated move to do The Mandalorian. And the problem, the way a lot of fans perceive it, even plays into Disney's calculations. Think about it. If Disney puts out a show like that, that people flock to because they put out one little Disney Plus show that doesn't include the agenda, that doesn't include the nonsense, well, people flock to that. And what does that reflect on? That raises the Disney Star Wars numbers, the Disney Lucasfilm, that raises their numbers. Stockholders don't care. They're not going to look in and say, oh, but I see that only came from Mandalorian and not from, not from the other stuff you're doing. They don't care. They see the numbers raise, and they will even say, "Good job, Kathleen Kennedy," because she presided over The Mandalorian. Every bit of the success of The Mandalorian reflects on Kathleen Kennedy as far as anything that matters goes here in terms of rewards and all of that, accolades and whatnot. That it gives her the boost. Her the boost. She's the one. So they knew that. They knew if they gave fans a bone, they'd shut up and chew on it. And I don't know if they knew this from the start, but it certainly plays into it. This nonsense that I've talked about many times and tried to call out and pull back the curtain on, that there's this civil war in Lucasfilm, and there are factions. Favreau's on our side, guys, and Filoni's on our side, and we need to kind of we need to keep supporting the stuff they do so that we can make a showing and we can show that the numbers that we are only the stuff that they do are the stuff that we're wanting to watch, and we're not watching the others, and they'll see that numbers. No. They don't care. They don't care. And in fact, that conspiracy theory, because that's basically all it is. There's absolutely no evidence of any kind of civil war or anything. It's a conspiracy theory. And as I said in last week's stream, it's propagated by these different YouTube channels that themselves get paid and get a lot more traffic on their channel for continue to propagate this conspiracy theory that there's a civil war and there are different factions in Lucasfilm, and we need to support the ones, because if they can convince fans, if they can convince the critical fans, if they can convince all the fans that were livid and said absolutely no to The Last Jedi, and then just turned around and walked away from Solo, a Star Wars story, that terrified Disney. People actually walked away. They didn't bother going to see it en masse. I mean, that's a big deal. That's what brings about that's what gets their attention anyway. Those people though who said, yeah, nope, not even going to worry about it, a lot of those people flocked to The Mandalorian. That plays right into Disney's hand, right? Disney's great. We've got them back. No one cares. No one's looking at Disney's numbers and saying, oh, but the ratings are only high on that show and not on that one. No, the stockholders don't care. They see the numbers up. They say, good job, Disney. Keep doing what you're doing. And that means, yeah, keep throwing out those little bones to shut people up so that they can keep doing what they want to do and preach their agenda through their continued Disney continuity. The High Republic, that came on the heels of The Mandalorian. And I'm convinced it was made possible by the success of The Mandalorian. So the whole idea that we gotta keep supporting the good stuff but not supporting the bad stuff. No, this only plays into their hand, and it only assures that you will never receive anything more than a tasty bone here and there. You're not going to actually make any change to the company, to their handling of the Star Wars franchise. Show me the evidence. If you still insist after so many years now that this nonsense has been going on, if you still insist otherwise, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It plays into their hand, actually. So other things they've done, other tactics they've done. I mentioned last time about the Gina Carano firing. Now, Gina Carano wasn't playing ball. She was not on their side with their agenda that they wanted to preach, both in the shows, but in public, and whatnot. So they knew for a long time that they were going to get rid of her. You'll never convince me that things just finally came to a head at that moment and then they let her go for that reason or whatever. No, they knew for a long time. The moment that they decided to let her go was very calculated. It was calculated. They let her go right at the end of season 2 of Mandalorian, when that had pretty much wrapped up. The whole season was out. They'd pretty much received all the publicity and returning money or whatever they were going to get from that. Then they let her go. They let her go at that moment because they knew that season 3 of The Mandalorian is far, far off. That's far down the road. And by then, everybody, no matter how livid they are, no matter how much they say that that's it, that's the last straw, they're done with Disney forever, they'll have it out of their system by then, and they'll be ready to come back and see what's going on in season 3 of Mandalorian. And you know what? They're absolutely right. That's exactly what has happened. Now, maybe, a couple of you here might say, not me, that was the end for me, and I'm still standing on it. Okay. But you've got a lot of people are addicted to consuming product. They can't help themselves. They must consume the new product, the new sexy product that's in fashion, that's being tweeted about and all that stuff. As I said last week, I can't tell you how many people, it was like pulling teeth to get people who understood what I was talking about with Masters of the Universe Revelation, how this is garbage, guys. It's going to be garbage. It's nothing that we should be supporting. And people would say, yeah, no, I get it. But I kind of feel like I have to watch the first episode. I mean, like it's pulling teeth. They can't. It's like crack cocaine for these people. They must consume. And then you got the people who say, "Well, no, I pirate it. I pirate it." And people think that's a way out. And oh my gosh, you would think you've insulted their baby when you tell them that that doesn't matter. Pirating them is just as much part of the problem. Because they're desperate to still cling to that little way, that little tiny backdoor way that they could maybe still consume the product, but not give them money. But no, because they watch it pirated and then they go talk about it on social media and publicize it and all that kind of stuff. They're playing into it. It's all part of the same problem. So Disney knew that with Gina Carano. Disney knew that. Get a super chat here. $1.99 Neostar Productions. Reiserman stands before you. Reiserman. Should I know that name? I probably should, but I'm not. Sorry, been a long day. Sorry, but if I'm not getting a reference there, but I appreciate the support there and the super chat. So yeah, they fired Gina Carano when they did, and people were livid. It was the in vogue thing to be mad about. All of the right YouTube channels were throwing fits about it. Everybody was swearing off. That's it. That's the last straw. I'm done. I don't care how good the Mandalorian was. That's it. I can't believe they've done this. And I think Disney benefited and probably even in different ways encouraged the outrage to go on, because the stronger that outrage flared up in the moment, the faster it'll just dissipate afterwards, to the point where all they had to do was release a image of season 3 and Grogu with the yellow lightsaber or something, and people were flipping out. Oh, that's so amazing, this isn't that. And I saw a lot of the same people who were so mad about Gina Carano's handling are right back and curious and ready, and I guess I gotta go watch season 3. I mean, I've got to support my boy Favreau. They're back. So Disney knew exactly what they're doing. They're playing the fans. They're playing you people so easily. They know exactly what to do and push your buttons. Now let's move from Disney Star Wars over to Disney MCU, because they know exactly what they're doing there too. And I'm going to point out some things here in terms of that. I see a couple people have tagged me. Private Eye in retrospectiva says, say it as it is, Prof. Just like Bender from Futurama would say, everyone is an idiot. You, me, that idiot over there. That's my philosophy. Nice. Sound Engraver says fans are already stoked for The Mandalorian with the recent bonus behind the scenes episode involving Luke Skywalker. Like, yeah, guys, remember that awesome where we stroked all the right fifis for you at the end and made you just somehow ignore that that's still the same Luke that ends up old man hermit Luke giving up on the world. Just don't think about that, yeah, they know how to push all the right buttons. So the MCU, they, as I said, these are people, Kevin Feige himself, he's the man who presided over what was a glorious MCU through most of its existence, right up until when Captain Marvel and Endgame just completely dropped the ball and tried to turn it in a whole different direction and make it more about agenda than story. So they know what they're doing. They understand, and they see the difference. They also see, I mean, Captain Marvel did not do as well as a Marvel movie should, and it was not well received at all. Now they tried to paint that, of course, in the public as, it's just a couple of angry fanboys, I mean, of course they're going to try and do that. But no, they knew. They absolutely know that. Otherwise, we would have had a sequel to Captain Marvel long ago. Quarantine and all that kind of stuff aside, that we'd have had it long before that started. But they knew people aren't really liking her character. She's not engaging anybody. The ideologues who are already on the page with it, they'll go see it, but they aren't enough. So they knew that. And we heard talks and we heard rumors about Spider-Man's their ace in the hole, right? Spider-Man is a character. Spider-Man is Marvel's Batman. He's a character, and I don't mean in terms of the characters the same, but I mean in terms of he's a character that's so popular for them that if they do anything Spider-Man, people are going to go give it a chance, right? The End of the Spider-Verse, the stupid Miles Morales animated film that they did, that director, when he was making long before the movie even came out, he was getting in some trouble on Twitter for supporting Antifa and all this stuff, and people were saying, how, why would you be doing this when you're doing You know, you're creating a film that you want people to see. Shouldn't you be? And he basically said, I don't care. You'll come see it anyway. And you know what? You did. You did. You didn't care. As soon as that movie came out, it's actually a really good movie. No, you went and saw it anyway. If it's got Spider-Man on it, people can't help themselves. Cannot help themselves. Gotta go see it. Gotta consume that new product. And we'll talk about some different levels of that with Spider-Man here in a second. I'm wearing my Spider-Man is Amazing Friends shirt there just to complement the topic tonight. So what were they going to do then? They knew that the agenda that they were trying to push for the MCU isn't going to win them the numbers and whatnot to ultimately keep those shareholders happy. Well, look at what they did after Endgame, which also divided fans. I mean, there was no way, as I pointed out many times, there was no way Endgame wasn't going to make a ton of money because it was the culminating movie of this whole big, long, thing. People were going to go see it no matter what. And we didn't even know the nonsense was going to be in it. I saw it opening night, and I didn't know any of that nonsense was in it until I was sitting there in the theater seeing it, So there's no way that movie was going to be successful, but they also know that it divided people because they put in solid about-face turns from good storytelling to agenda in the movie Endgame. It's just there. Making Sam Wilson suddenly the new Captain America, that's an about-face from story because the story was about Steve Rogers' relationship with Bucky. Bucky is the one, his friendship with Bucky is what drove his character all the way. They just kind of, we just sort of ignore that now. They knew what they were doing with Thor, big, strong, virile, hetero white guy. Oh, we gotta break him down and throw some food at him, and mock him up a little bit. I gotta do that. Hulk, big, strong, male aggression, toxic masculinity. Oh no, we gotta soy him up big time. They knew what they were doing. But how to get people not to turn their back on the MCU? What's the very next movie they released after Endgame, guys? The next Spider-Man movie, because they knew people couldn't say no. Now, a lot of people hate the Tom Holland Spider-Man. I'm on record for actually really loving Homecoming. I know the differences. I know the things they changed about it, but as I was maintaining at the time, the core of the character is still there. And they did change some things to make him fit into the MCU at that late juncture in time, which, they should have been able to introduce him much earlier, of course. But I maintain that was still absolutely, and I love that. I really think Homecoming was an artistic film. And I was actually really excited about seeing Far From Home when I first saw the trailer release, because it was before Endgame and everything. But after Endgame and this stupid, was it 5 year gap and all this kind of stuff, I realized that's not a universe I want to spend time in anymore. Not a universe I want to spend time anymore. Doesn't matter if it's a Spider-Man movie. But it's got that allure of Spider-Man on it, and people just had to go see it. I heard people who hated the Tom Holland Spider-Man movie say, but I feel like I got to see this one because it's the first time Mysterio's ever on the big screen. I got to go support that. No, you don't. Why do you have to go? No, you don't. You just cannot. You're so weak. You can't not consume product that you'll find any excuse to go and consume the product that has the picture of your favorite character on it, even if it's not anything remotely resembling that character. It's got the logo. You got to go identify with it, fanboy. That kind of nonsense. Man Rewired for $9.99. Thank you, appreciate that. Throwing legendary Spider-Man movie villains into a watered-down Spider-Man franchise, Far From Home was the perfect type for a young Spider-Man to separate from Tony and come to himself as a man. Throwing legendary Spider-Man. I think you're talking about Spider-Verse there, or maybe you're still talking about Far From Home too. I don't know, but yeah, I'm gonna get to that with the Spider-Verse movie. So I do appreciate the super chat and appreciate your comment there. So they threw Spider-Man Far From Home out first. Did they give us anything? What else? What else did they release? Did they announce the Black Widow movie? Because think about it, the Black Widow movie. If they threw a Spider-Man movie out first, because that's a sexy name, the Spider-Man. That's going to get people, even who are resistant, they're still going to kind of want to come to see Spider-Man. So that's going to drive numbers up. Just that title, that character's name. Then they put out a Black Widow, or announced it anyway. I know it didn't come till much later, but the next movie they were going to basically put out was the Black Widow, which was set in continuity long before Endgame. or the Captain Marvel was revealed in that universe or whatever. So that was another ploy. Let's see if people will come back to at least see a story that took place beforehand, and then all the nonsense came about the writer, who was very honest and blatantly said, I know nothing about comics or nothing about Black Widow, but I could not turn down this opportunity to preach my agenda with such a popular character and a built-in platform. She was honest about that, told you flat out. And then the trailer came out and people were like, oh, that actually looks pretty good. People are so quick to just ignore and they want to be duped. They want to be duped. So Marvel, the MCU, is playing fast and loose, and they put out they went through the Disney Plus thing, and the Disney Plus shows didn't come until quite late into all of the. Again, I'm trying to avoid watchwords for the stream, but people having to stay home for a time, for reasons there. That Disney Plus, the success of that played into it. Let's put out the Scarlet Witch and the Cap Falcon show, which doesn't really care about Winter Soldier or whatever. They know what they're doing there, and then they released the Eternals trailer, and no one's excited about the Eternals. No one's excited about the Eternals. The Eternals is nonsense. Everybody knows, except for like the ideologues who are going to go see it anyway. People know the Eternals is going to be a bunch of garbage agenda preaching. I mean, that's they don't even try to hide it. That's exactly what the Eternals is going to be. So they announced that, but what's the movie that they release right around the same time? Another Spider-Man movie. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And in this Spider-Man movie, let's try to really rope in everybody who didn't like our handling of Spider-Man with the Tom Holland. So let's go back and get Tobey Maguire and Doc Ock and Green Goblin, probably, who knows, and Andrew Garfield. Let's make it like a multiverse kind of Spider-Man movie. Let's bring them all in. People are gonna go see, and I've heard this so many times. Yeah, I'm not a big MCU Spider-Man fan, but hey, yeah, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I just love those movies so much, and that scene when Doc Ock shows up. That means so much to me. I can't not go support it. No, if it meant anything to you at all, you would have the willpower to stay home and realize what an absolute shame. We could have had the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man verse back in so many different ways, and it's going to come back to us as a ploy to get people to watch and continue to partake of a cinematic universe that they don't care about anymore. That's what you're getting, it baited on a hook for you to come watch this movie and give it your money and support. Same thing with people who are really into the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield and all of that. DC's doing the same thing. Nobody, and I mean nobody, likes Ezra Miller as the Flash. Nobody. But they are pulling out every possible stop they can in this Flashpoint movie. Michael Keaton as Batman is back, and they're going to throw out all of this. Let's just throw out everything on the board, and people will have to come because, really just have been waiting so long to see Keaton as Batman again. And no, if it meant something to you, then you wouldn't go support this nonsense, because what a shame that this is the way he returns. What a shame that this is the way we get any kind of glimpse into the Tobey Maguire verse again. It was the same thing with the CW Crisis, what a horrid spit in the face to Kevin Conroy that you finally get him to play a live action Batman in its Murder Man, like a Dark Knight Returns kind of style. What a spit in the face of Tom Welling and Erica Durance that you finally get the Smallville cast back, and they're just yeah. If you like Smallville, he just eventually gave up his powers. I mean, they delight in spitting in fans' faces. They delight in showing how much they can rub your nose in it, and delight in the fact that you will still shut up and come give them your money and support or pirate it and think you're doing something secret and not helping them. They've got you. They've got you. They know all of these. They have these tricks, and they know that people are so weak-willed. They must consume. Oh, we must consume the product. Just, and people will hate on people like me who dare speak this truth because it's inconvenient to their desire, their addiction, and they'll flock to the channels instead that are saying, hey, I think they're really going to treat, they're doing it well. They're doing it well. They might be turning it around now, guys. No, that's just playing into that, throwing you a bone. And we also know, too, that this movie is the end of the Spider-Man trilogy. I guarantee you this movie, if not at the actual end of this movie, then it's going to be leading into it at some point where they will brush Peter Parker aside and either bring in Miles Morales or Spider-Gwen. Ghost Spider, as they call her, because we can't have this white heterosexual male as one of our main heroes anymore. They will brush him aside just as quickly as they can. They'll use him for everything they can to try and get their numbers up right now. But no, they will. I guarantee you, they are working towards bringing in Miles Morales to replace him, or Spider Gwen or something like that. I guarantee you, and they know that people will just shut up and go watch it because you're weak. Gamer62589 for $5. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. It says, if I wanted to see Raimi's Goblin and Doc Ock, I watched the Raimi films. Thank you. Exactly. Oh, but those are old. I need new content. And it's that, fan addict thing that, Fan Man has coined that wonderful term where people need to be a part of the buzz on social media, everybody talking about the movie and they're excited about it and they feel like they're part of a crowd or an identity. No, this is all part of the problem. They know how to keep you on a hook, and they'll do it with timing, with releasing things in a certain time. They know that you're not interested. They know that you're not going to come back and keep partaking of their agenda nonsense. And they're trying to avoid at all costs another a Star Wars story incident where people just simply walk away. That's the biggest thing you can do to hurt them. That's the only thing you can do to really send a message to them saying, I'm done with the way you're killing my franchises. I'm done with the way you're driving my heroes into the ground. I'm sick to death of you privileging social agenda over good stories. These characters already inspire. They already preach good values. The only way to send that message is to simply walk away. Turn it off. Stop paying them. Stop pirating it and going out and talking about it anyway. Have some guts. Get a little strength. Get a little inner strength and fortitude and stop. Oh, but I gotta see it though. I mean, this is a big momentous event. Doc Ock, that was so cool. And Toby, no, you don't have to do anything. You're just weak, and you would rather. I mean, let's just call it like it is. People who just it's far more important to them to go get that little Fifi buzz by seeing that little nostalgia bait. That's more important to them than the character's impact in our culture and the legacy of that iteration of the character. It's far more important to them just to go have that little cultural moment of feeling like they belong to a moment of cultural buzz. That's what they care about. These aren't fans of the actual characters. They're fans of being a fan of the character. They want the identity that comes with it, That's what it is. I think we've got another super chat here that I missed. Alec Purdue, thank you for $2, says that it's more enabler culture by fandom. Yeah, exactly. And again, I've never, and I will not call out specific YouTube channels or anything, but be wary. Be wary about these YouTube channels that flip-flop. The ones who are calling out, insisting on good story and stuff like that, and then when it's convenient to flip-flop on this. I mean, we saw that with the Snyder Cut a lot, right? When it's convenient and when it's following the popular narrative, these YouTube channels are more interested in being on the right side of the algorithm. They're more interested in saying the right things to keep their numbers up than they are about saying truth or actually arguing and pushing for good story. Not every single one that happens to support the Snyder Cut or say any of these things, but these are just signs to look for, because you see it in a lot of these channels. They try to come across as just a fan, guys, just a concerned fan and one of the people, and they built this platform up and they're just trying to talk. No, they built a business and they want to protect that business. They're, like I said, certain types of videos bring in more bucks and get revenue than others, and that's the type of videos they'll continue to do all the time. Talking about the Civil War and Lucasfilm, that gets a lot of views. That gets everybody excited and drawing them back to it. So they'll keep that narrative going for as long as you can possibly still believe it without any evidence whatsoever. Ellie Wells for $2. Thank you very much. The old movies and TV will stand the test of time. They absolutely will. It's unfortunate though that this they will stand the test of time. You're right, but there's this shadow, this pall being cast over them with like I said, the CW crisis. Smallville. Wasn't a perfect show, but for what it was, a CW teeny bopper drama, it really treated Superman right. And went on far too long, had its issues, I know, but really treated this character of Superman right. And Tom Welling was just a joy to see as that Clark Kent character. And as much as you want to go back and watch those and just enjoy them for what they are, there's always that little bit of a shadow that, um, they tried to say, no, this is how that ends. They tried to spit in the face about it, and the same thing will be here with the Tobey Maguire or with the Michael Keaton Batman or whatever, with all their stupid multiverse techniques now. This is their new bait on the hook that they're putting in for you. Matthew Flynn for £5. Thank you very much. Says, when the MCU introduced Doctor Doom, do you think they will respect him? I don't think so. Doctor Doom is the alpha of alpha males, and we can't have that. Oh, absolutely not. No. I mean, look what they did to Black Mask, for crying out loud, in DC, not that Marvel, but in the Fabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn or whatever. They they know what they're doing, and it's mind boggling to me. On the one hand, I keep getting stories. Sometimes I'll see headlines about, oh, Kevin Feige's teasing how they're going to introduce the Fantastic Four into the MCU, and I'm thinking, how is anybody remotely excited about that? How could anybody remotely be excited about the MCU's introduction to the X-Men or the Fantastic Four? If you like the Fantastic Four and if you like the X-Men, why would you want them introduced in such a garbage universe now? What that MCU has become. But people will be, yeah, but I just, X-Men mean a lot to me, and I've just got to go see it because it's a new iteration. They know they've got you. They know they've got you. They don't care about making money. So this nonsense, hey, it's just a business. We just have to keep, approaching as a business and support the good product, and not that doesn't work. Stop it. All you're doing is playing into their hand and continuing to enable them to put out their drivel and only produce a couple of bones for you to chew on and be happy with, like a good little doggy. And shut up over there. Stop yapping, chew on that bone. Shut up. Maybe you'll growl a little bit here and there about what they're doing elsewhere, but you're no threat to them. You're no threat. You're consuming. Be a good little consumer and shut up. And you do. And you do. You do. That drives me crazy. Drives me crazy. So yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say about that. That's my thoughts on Spider-Verse. I mean, is the concept cool? Yeah, sure, but not with the current day MCU, and not with what it means to support this film, what it would mean to other stories and how it encourages and propagates. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Never. Marielle Powell for $2 says, Big Bang Theory fans love these types of movies. Yeah, I think you mean like the Big Bang Theory, how it was, how many geek references can we make, guys? That kind of kitschy thing where you make geekdom a fashion rather than true passion for specific characters and specific stories, to the extent that you want to support and cultivate and push the proper handlings of those characters and stories, and not just consume anything with the logo on it. Yeah, I think you're right. Gigawatt 1.21 for $5. I appreciate that. Says, will pop culture ever be saved with people set on deconstruction of the monomyth? I don't see any possibility of it happening. I really don't. I think that, in terms of like in traditional ways, hey, it's going to actually turn around eventually. And no, it's not going to turn around. As I said, we would need 20 years at least if Hollywood was truly serious about cutting out the ideologues and all their tendrils throughout the whole Hollywood system. If they were truly serious about doing that right now today, it would take between 10 and 20 years to actually get it all out of their system, because they're so ingrained. They're so ingrained in our culture in general. And of course they're going to try and gravitate towards Hollywood because that's the mouthpiece. That's the indoctrination machine, Sound Engraver, see you tag me there. I think people believe they are advocating hope with supporting these selected shows and films. It's misguided. Yeah, it's naive. In the best case scenario, they just truly don't understand. They don't know any better. But it only takes a matter of time for you to realize and for you to learn. I mean, again, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence that you're supporting of the good stuff? It's not working. At some point, you got to realize that. So it quickly turns from naivete, even innocent naivete, into guilty naivete. Like, no, I want to be willfully ignorant and still do this because, at least I can still go consume. Yeah. Seems like there was something else I was going to say, another point about that, but I finished everything I was going to say about the MCU and Spider-Verse thing there. So I don't know. I don't know what else I was gonna say. But be watchful too for people, and try to remember people who talked about, especially people who hated, who didn't even like Homecoming, who loathed the very idea of the Tom Holland, Kevin Feige Spider-Man. Who loathed that very idea. Watch them go flock to No Way Home because I'm doing it because of this one, or because of Andrew Garfield, or because of this, or because of no, you're doing it and you're supporting everything that you hate. Yeah. Nathaniel's Lisboa. The ideologues are those infected with the technovirus from the Star Wars. Yeah, last night we were talking in the Rule of Two, the second book in the Darth Bane trilogy, of this technovirus that Belia Darzu, this old Sith Lord, had infused animals and even some humanoids with, which ate away their higher brain function, their cognitive ability, and just made them sort of automatons. Yeah, that's what ideology does. It does. It subjugates. It's cult like I said. It subjugates all of your values, your thoughts. It takes them over and says these are your values now, and these should be fought for, and everything else should be subjugated to that. Good storytelling, good logical business, whatever. Definitely. Sound Engraver says trailers are teasing people with little teases. That's exactly what happened to the new Masters of the Universe stuff. Yeah, that was just mind-boggling. It really was that when Masters of the Universe Revelations, when people saw the character designs of Tila and everything, and we knew this is, oh my gosh, this really is going to be the garbage that it was rumored to be. And then they put out that first little trailer, and people were like, oh man, see, it's going to be great. It didn't take any level of intelligence to realize that was clearly just from the opening shots of the first episode or whatever. I mean, they put out that synopsis, but the mental gymnastics that I was seeing, people trying to fall all over themselves in logic to try to still make it like, this could be a good thing. No, maybe that's just the way it is at first, but then she comes back and we get the real Tila the whole time. Oh my gosh, people are willing to, they sound ridiculous just so they can reason a way to consume. Comic Skater says Thomas Sewell said, Sewell, how do you pronounce his name? I always get that wrong. I said it's not that Johnny can't think, it's that he doesn't know what it is to think. He knows only how to feel and often confuses the two. Describes many fans, yeah, and that's the problem with today's culture in general, especially in public schools and state universities. They are taught to feel, react, and indoctrinated to think the right thing, Oh, and Lister says, you see my art of Gabe and Jenny from Beetle Blaze Project? No, I didn't see that yet. I'll look for it. Leia Plus Size says, you don't know how my popular YouTube stars claim that they hate woke, but will flock to see No Way Home and says, hey, that's not that bad. Exactly, yeah. People who were talking about, we saw it before, people who were talking about the DCEU and how the darkness of the Snyderverse was just horrible garbage. Oh boy, they put out an Aquabro film and everybody loves it all of a sudden, and everybody's saying it's saved. Are you kidding me? That's not Aquaman. It's the Aquaman that Snyder started from that movie, and I don't care how peppy and adventurous that movie was. It's propagating that dark version of the character. Same thing with Shazam and all of that, but people gotta go consume. Leia Plus said, do you know what they have done to the reboot of Interview with the Vampire? No, I haven't heard anything about that. Nothing good, I'm sure. I didn't even know that was a thing that was happening. No. I did see apparently it's a rumor out right now that that season 3 of Mandalorian might be the last season. It's just a rumor, as far as I know. It's completely unsubstantiated. I didn't even read the whole article. I was just like, what is that? Let me take a look at that. So I don't think that's the case. I think they've got a good thing going with that bone that so many people are just happily chewing on and leaving them alone for. But if they did try to end it, that would be all the more telling. It served its purpose. It got you people off their back, made you shut up, and allowed them to do whatever they wanted to do. So they got more power because you were busy over there chewing on how cool the Mandalorian was than to actually stand up against them and say no and take away the things that actually count, which is turning your back on them and not giving them anybody to preach to. Matthew Flynn for £5. Thank you very much. Says, I love the Fantastic Four. I've been collecting the old comics because I never read them before. I only watched the 90s Fantastic Four cartoon. Yeah, the 90s Fantastic Four cartoon was great. And yeah, those original Stan Lee and Jack Kirby Fantastic Four comics are wonderful. Right up in, as the You can get them in the, what is it? I've got them back there. Master, no, I forget. There was a series of hardbound comic omnibuses, the Master Collection, or I forget. It's back there, but yeah. Actually, you can see it on the shelf back there at the far right hand of the screen, second shelf up above that white box. Those are the Masterworks. Masterworks, I think is what they're called. Yeah, Masterworks. So, oh, race swapping Louis. Yeah, of course, race swapping him. Race swap everybody. Yeah, I did hear that Disney Plus is doing a Werewolf by Night series for next Halloween, but they're race swapping Jack Russell to a Latino. Um, silly, silly. Jose Lopez is working on an original character called the Dark Saint, of superhero who rises to fight against evil and forces and protects to help the innocent. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like we said, going back and continuing to dig into and being content with the decades of wonderful story that we have. I'm sorry, I don't care how avid of a reader you are, how much of a fan of anything you are, you have not read or watched every single thing out there that still came from the good era. So get on it, definitely. I see Sound Engraver saying hi to Big Al. Did Big Al pop in? Oh, there's Big Al. The thumbs down must be from Grogu. Grogu can kiss my, whatever. Oh, good to see you there, Big Al. All right. So yeah. So that's my thoughts on that. I think I am gonna draw to a close here. I've got a little work to do, and I did get a start late night on this. But let me just reiterate that Al, you're here, so you can remind me. I think tomorrow night you're doing Excalibur. Yeah. Al and Nanette they've swapped back and forth in their channels doing weekly rewatches of things. And Al's, my co-host on Thursday nights if you're new to the channel, and he's the one that we dig into the book studies with. So he's got a great channel of his own there, Big Al Presents. So you see him in the chat there, where he does some reviews and whatnot. From me, though, we will be back for the very last book study next Thursday night of Rule of Two, which is the second book of the Darth Bane trilogy. So the last book study of that, we've been going about 5 chapters at a time, and then we'll move into Dynasty of Evil, which is the third and final book of the Darth Bane trilogy. After that, we're going to take a little break and do From the Dust Returned by Ray Bradbury for the month of October, and then we'll jump back into the EU with either Timothy Zahn's Allegiance or Darth Plagueis. I need to decide which one, but it'll be good, So yeah, tune in those Thursday nights. That's where we talk about good story and really dissect it and talk about why it's good. As I said, next Saturday night, so I won't be doing a live stream a week from tonight, next Friday. Instead, I'll do a live stream Saturday night because Saturday is my birthday. So I'll do a birthday stream that evening before their rewatches at some point. Maybe as early as 8. I don't know. It depends on how the evening goes. But go over my birthday haul or wishes for the next year or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be fun. So appreciate you guys hanging out for that. Yeah, Sound Engraver, do check out her channel. She hasn't been doing live streams because she is in the process of moving up here. She will finally be here this coming week, actually. So we'll get some live streams from Sound Engraver again, which will be awesome. But check out her channel. She's working on a Ray Bradbury piece, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, it's gonna be cool. Also wanted to do a shout out. I haven't seen him in the chat, but Daniel Heron, Birdman, Soundtracks with Birdman. He's got his channel. He does the rewatches on. I'm going to be on there at some point this fall doing Last of the Mohicans with him. But he sent me an amazing little care package today. He sent some CDs for Alyssa that she really liked, like Disney Princess sing-alongs. And he sent me Ninjor, Master of the Universe Ninjor character. He sent me this book on like the history of Black Widow, which was awesome. But yeah, he also sent me, though, the soundtrack. It was the last piece of Shadows of the Empire from the Star Wars EU. I've got the game, I've got the book, I've got the comics, and I thought that was it, but no, apparently there was actually a soundtrack released too that I didn't know about. So he sent me the soundtrack. It was really sweet of him. So I want to thank him for that, even though he's not here. But yeah, as I'm wrapping up, Chris Damon, I just see your name here. I'm glad I saw you because I have to issue a retraction to you. And I'll do this real quick. You had asked me the last stream we were on, you had asked me what I thought about the DC animated Batman Long Halloween. and I forget what the stream was about, but it wasn't anything about DC animated movies or anything. So it kind of took me off guard, and I mixed up in my mind. I was talking about how the DC animated movies were trying to shove Damian Wayne in wherever they could because they were trying to push the New 52 continuity. And in some movies, they were even swapping out Tim Drake to put Damian Wayne in. That's not the case for Long Halloween, though. I should have known that because in that stream I was even talking about Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale's Long Halloween into Dark Victory, which then actually introduces the character Robin. So I misspoke when I was talking about Damian Wayne being pushed into Long Halloween. No, that's not the thing. To answer your original question, if you even care anymore, the reason why I'm not even didn't even give it a chance, the Long Halloween animated version, was because I was lacking in zero faith, had no faith in DC animated anymore. Because of their nonsense New 52 stuff, when they supposedly turned it around with Man of Tomorrow, that wasn't turning around at all. It was still garbage. And then I didn't have any faith in them, but then I see the animation and I'm thinking, for a movie, I mean, for a wonderful story, an epically, iconically film noir styled story of Long Halloween with Tim Sale's art and character designs is so key and so distinctive to that story. They didn't even remotely try. I know you can't animate Tim Sale's art style, point by point, but they didn't even try. It was just typical run of the mill template of the DC animated EU at the time. So I didn't even bother giving it a chance. Not interested. Why? I don't need it. I got the graphic novel. It's glorious, So I just want to issue that retraction and make that correction there to you. I think I saw Hero Geek here, channel member. I always want to call out my channel members. Good to see you there, Hero Geek, and Tom Spiegel as well. Yeah, Joel McNeely, the soundtrack for Shadows of the Empire. Yeah. As I'm cutting out here, Terminator Joe, whatever happened to Betty Ross? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she was left behind in the in the movies and continuities. I don't even know if she's a thing in comics anymore. I don't really follow. Even back in the day before all new, all different Marvel, I wasn't, I was predominantly a DC guy, so I don't know. So there we go. That's all for tonight, folks. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate the support. Appreciate you hanging out. Appreciate your comments. Those who obviously super chatted, thank you very much. But also people who were just engaging in the chat or just keeping the video on, listening to me prattle on and giving it a view. I appreciate that too. So thanks for that. And I will have some videos, some standalone videos released, some cut out of this stream within the next few days. I'll try to come back maybe for a stream. I'm teaching now as well, so I'm kind of settling into my new schedule for the fall semester. But at the very least, you'll see me back live stream for Thursday night with closing out The Rule of Two by Drew Karpyshyn book study. So thanks. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Until next time, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the true good hero stories that you love best. Thanks for watching.